What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Check Swing Podcast. Let me move my camera over so I'm actually looking at y'all and talking to y'all. Welcome back to the Check Swing Podcast, y'all, with myself and, of course, with my guy, the brains and brawn of the situation. Coach Sanders in the building. We are back. It's been a little while. It's been at least a month, right? It's been at least a month. Life has gotten in the way. A lot of things are going on. A lot of baseball has been being played. All right. I got a chance to check out Miguel's Dirtbags play ball a couple weeks ago. They came up to the area, and that was fun. That was good to see. Great to see you in person for the first time in a couple years. But look, it's time for us to get into this show, and we are back, and we want to welcome y'all and thank y'all for joining us. Because, of course, like I said, it has been a while, and y'all didn't have to stick around and come back for us, but you're here, and we appreciate it. But without further ado, I got to ask my people how they been, because that's how I like to start every show, by asking people how they been, my folks how they been. So, Miguel.
Yo.
How you been, man?
They killed Theo.
Man, I know.
Sorry.
Rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner, man.
Yeah.
Talk about a piece of your childhood, really. You know what I mean? Like, not only did we watch him grow up on TV, but we grew up with him watching him on TV.
My brother had posted on his social media. You remember the shirt that he designed on the
Gordon Gartrell? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the Gordon Gartrell.
Yeah. And I think while we were on hiatus, if you want to do that second share.
Right now?
Yeah. Just paying homage to a legend that passed away. Legend in Pittsburgh, also played in Cincinnati, Oakland, Milwaukee, and California. He's actually going into the Hall of Fame this year, but rest in peace to Dave Parker. Wrong one.
Not that one. I'm guessing you're talking about this one. Sorry.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So
gotta grab a snack before the show starts.
Right. But yeah, he and Dick Allen are being inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. Finally. Nicknamed the Cobra. And he was pretty much the heir apparent after Roberto Clemente passed away in Pittsburgh. So, legend gone too soon, was dealing with Parkinson's, but had a great career and even greater personality. So,
yeah, rest in peace to Dave Parker. I didn't know he played for that many teams though either.
Yeah, he was also unfortunately, one of many players caught up in that cocaine scandal in the mid '80s. Reprieved himself and came back with even better seasons, and probably should have been the MVP for 2 more seasons. But sometimes, back in the day, your reputation kind of, precedes you.
I understand. Rest in peace to Dave Parker, man. Yeah, that was and young too, 70 some years old, right?
Yeah, mid 70s, I believe.
some years old, man. I almost did it again.
So,
we got a new platform, y'all. So people that don't know, we have a new platform. I'm kind of learning it on the fly because this is actually our first live show. We've done tests in the past. I did a couple tests over the past few weeks. I did a test with Miguel, and I'm really learning this platform. So you guys are gonna have to excuse me. I mean, I've learned stuff about this platform like an hour before the show started, so I had to adjust a lot of things, in my mind to make things work out. But either way, we are here, and we appreciate y'all being here, and we got a lot to talk about today. Okay, since we've been going, it just feels like in the last couple of weeks. But there's been a lot going on since we've been going, but the last couple of weeks is really kind of ramped up to where, for one, today Eagles training camp began. Okay, so we're definitely going to talk about that. I want to know like what's something that you're looking forward to. You can hit us up. What's something you're looking forward to? A matchup, a position battle, a position group. What are you looking forward to seeing in the preseason? In the preseason, because of course you're not going to see camp, and by the time the regular season gets here, decisions are already made. I have an idea of what I want. One thing in particular that I'm interested in seeing with this preseason. Miguel, I'll give you a chance to think about that for a little bit before we get into it. Also, the debate about Jalen Hurts being elite or being a top tier quarterback has been a hot topic. It seems over the last couple of weeks, and I'm going to give my opinion on it. I hope Miguel wants to give his opinion on it. Um, I'll go ahead and try to. I will try to not be biased, right? But I don't know if I can be unbiased. Um, Miguel may or may not try to be unbiased. We are Eagles fans. It is what it is. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that debate. And one thing I want to, another thing, excuse me, that came out, Joel Embiid. There was an article that he did with an, I believe,
Who?
Joel Embiid. He did it. He was interviewed by an ESPN writer. I believe he was African. I'm going by the name. I'm assuming by the name he's African, and I'm just going to just say that maybe Joel felt a little more comfortable saying more things than he might usually say because he was with somebody that was African, somebody that's just like him. I don't know. I'm just saying that, but we'll get into that. But one question I want to know that you may have: um, do you trust the 76ers front office? Do you trust the 76ers front office? From all the things that have transpired since the end of the season, and let's just really say the last couple of seasons, um, to up to the point of Joel Embiid's article. I think that'll be an interesting conversation. The Phillies won in a very interesting way, in a way that hasn't happened in like over 40 years or something like that. Um, but I want to ask the same. Like the Phillies are talking. We're coming up on the trade deadline, and the Phillies have some holes they need to really kind of fill. And they're not going to fill them all within the trade deadline. I just don't see that happening. But I want to ask you, the audience out there, do you trust the Phillies ownership? Do you trust their ability to make a helpful move? A helpful move. You can hit us up and let us know what you think about that. We'll be putting the phone number up, and just shortly it's going to be there at the bottom of the screen. Um, and then I also want to ask you, would a Phillies move be worth it? Will it be worth it? And what I'm saying is, and I'm going to say it now so I give you a chance to think about it. Would it be worth it right now to make moves where you move your top prospects in order to try to win a championship now? Or has this team become so old that it's not worth giving up the prospects because you're probably going to need those prospects within the next year or two? We'll talk about that. But first, Miguel, training camp has begun. Eagles training camp has begun. Um, it's kind of a bittersweet thing for me, Miguel,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna tell you why. For me, um, football season. That's the sweet part. Football is getting ready to start. The fall is about to be here. But I can't help to, and I'm just going to mention it and move on from it. I can't help but to feel like it's the beginning of the end of the summer when training camp starts, because it feels like summer's so quick anyway. It just
Yeah.
feels like it's the beginning of the end of the summer. But that's all I'm going to say about that. Eagles training camp, defending champions. They just received their rings couple nights ago over the weekend. Interesting rings. They have motion and stuff like that. They move and pop out and do things. Um, but as far as training camp is concerned, Miguel, I'm going to ask you, what is something that you're looking forward to seeing in this preseason? Is there something you look forward to seeing, or are you just looking forward to seeing some football?
I mean, at this point, just looking forward to seeing some football, and it's you know, I'm trying to remember when how I felt the first preseason after we won the Super Bowl. the first time. And I remember there just kind of being an air about like, an air of pride, an air of like, excitement, can we repeat, do we have the players, stuff like that. But I,
Mhm.
I feel like this team, the way that it was built between the interior lines and Saquon Barkley, wide receiving core, I think we're geared for a run more so now than we were when we had Wentz. Because remember, Wentz was coming back from the injury
Mhm.
after that first Super Bowl win, so there was a lot of questions there. All of our running backs were pretty much gone. Um, our receiving core was okay, but then come to find out, I think Alshon Jeffrey had like a torn rotator cuff that he was playing with. So it's
Mhm.
like we're coming back, we're all healthy. Um, I don't. I'm just looking for some consistency. The only concern that I have is really with our secondary because now, I'm hoping that the young guys that showed up in the Super Bowl, that it wasn't just a one shot wonder and they overachieved. You know what I mean? Because it's sophomore season for some of them. Cooper DeJean. Hey, if
You'll
Merrill
get his
Reese
name right eventually.
if Merrill Reese can mispronounce his name 5 times in one sitting, then so can I. But
Merrill's a Hall of Famer, though. That's the thing.
this is true. This is true. I stand corrected. But I think yeah, I'm looking forward to see what the young guys can do if they can keep the momentum going, especially in the secondary. I'm not terribly worried about the offense. I think the offense is going to continue as long as we're injury free. I think we're good on offense, but defense, I want to see what the young guys can do.
Defense. So secondary, that's your you kind. It sounds like you kind of have a question mark there for the secondary. You kind
Well,
and
because
I think I'm with you. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I think I'm with you. I think I'm with you on that because, like you said, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean in their second season. The veteran leadership is going in CJ GJ and Darius Slay. Those guys are gone. So now they're fending for themselves. They have Reed Blankenship back there, but he's in the fourth year, I think,
yeah, right.
fourth season. So that's a very interesting take. That is also something that I'm interested in seeing how they play. Um, but being preseason, do you think they're going to play? And now I know Nick
No,
Sirianni doesn't like to play starters a lot, but Vic Fangio kind of does. So do you think those guys play? Do you think they get maybe a couple series and come out? What you think?
I
What you
would
think?
I would hope so. I think that I mean because like you said, Vigangio, and I think you're going to start to see more players play a little bit more preseason just because you know, especially this. I would hope so. All I can say is I would hope so because it's going to be a tougher schedule. I think this is the first time in the history of the NFL that a team doesn't have back-to-back home games.
Really? First time in history, huh?
Um, yeah, we're the only team that it's the only time that they did this. It's like in the offseason they're trying to figure out. Other than the Cowboys, Micah Parsons, picking on the tush push or whatever you want to call it. Um, Trying to change the rules because of something that worked, and then talking about changing the salary cap configurations because it looks like they found the loophole that um, Howie took advantage of, and they want to quote unquote make it fair, whatever the hell they're talking about.
Well, if
But
it's a loophole, I'm sorry. I'm just jumping real quick. I'm sorry. If it's a loophole, it exists for everybody. Everybody can use it, so it's fair.
that's what
Continue.
I've been saying. Just like the tush push, everybody can do it, but not everybody can do it well.
Exactly.
Um, but I think this is still all a
You give respect. You
microcosm
don't want to
of
outlaw the forward pass.
right. It's a microcosm of. I think it's just a result of gambling. I think they're trying to make the game as least predictable as possible to line the pockets of FanDuel and all them.
Mhm.
Um, because again, like why why would a company want to invest in something that is like a sure thing and a sure bet to win? It's like no, the house has to win. So it's just that stuff. But
No,
um,
I got you. For me, one of the I'm interested in seeing a few things, right? But one of the things I'm mainly probably interested in seeing is, like I said, Vic Fangio likes to play. He likes to play the young guys. He likes to play the rookies in the in the preseason. So basically, he wants to see what they got. Right? You got to see what your rookies got. Um, I'm interested in seeing if he plays Jahad Campbell, rookie, the first round draft pick by the Eagles. I'm interested in seeing that if he plays Jahad Campbell in the preseason. Sirianni, we're not going to see Jalen Hurts. We're not going to see Saquon. Probably won't see AJ and Devontae. Probably won't see the offensive line. Maybe we might see we might see a couple of guys that are, might be fighting for a position. Um, but with this situation, with this being a rookie, and Vic likes to play rookies, I'm interested in seeing if he plays. Also, compounding the fact that he's coming off injury, so I'm
right.
interested in seeing that. And if he does play, I hope he doesn't get like exposed that he has some type of deficiency for the NFL. But either way, we'll have to see. That's going to be interesting for me to see. But like I said, I'm also with you with the secondary. I'm interested in seeing how that kind of pans out with the secondary. Um, one other thing, and I know I only said one thing. I was going to wait for a couple weeks. I don't know if I'm really going to get a grasp of it in the preseason, but I'm interested in the offensive play calling.
Yeah,
Like I said, you don't really get a grasp of it because you're not really defenses aren't preparing for you in the preseason. Offenses aren't preparing for you know what I mean? So, but I'm interested in seeing what the play calls look like. And it's going to be back up everybody's on offense, or we'll see. But
yeah.
and also was it Jahan Dotson?
I like the fact that even though our offensive coordinator left, they did hire somebody that at least he's familiar with. I mean, Jalen
Mhm.
Hurts is familiar with.
Yeah,
Um, so hopefully the transition won't be so dramatic, you know.
right.
And I'm also hoping like he's not one of those coaches that's trying to make a name for himself and try to be like this genius because it just seemed like been an uptick in like overcoaching.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's
I,
been hard
I
to watch.
I'm with you. I hope it doesn't happen. I don't think it will, but if it if it does happen, it feels like this will kind of be that situation. Like he's been around the league for a couple decades
Right.
now, almost 2 decades, I believe, and has never really been a coordinator. And now he is. So will he go out and like, I'm gonna show y'all what y'all been missing, or is he gonna go out and do what he needs to do to win games? Which brings me to my next question. It's the debate about Jalen Hurts. Is he delete? Is he delete? Is he elite or is he not elite? Um, I'm going to go first on this one, Miguel, if you don't mind. I gave you the other one. Jalen Hurts to me is an elite quarterback. Okay. Um, and I also know that this probably depends on what your definition of elite is, right? Cam Newton has gone on record saying, game managers versus game changers. Um, but he said Tom Brady was an elite game manager. Um, I think last season, Jalen Hurts last season was an elite game manager during from weeks 1 through 17, 18, 19, from weeks 1 through 19. Okay. Or how many ever games it was that I don't know. I remember how many they played in the playoffs. They didn't have a bye. So was it three? Three
Yeah.
games in the playoffs?
Hmm.
So 17, 18, 19. So from week 1 to week 20, he was an elite game manager. In week 21, Super Bowl, he was an elite game changer, in my opinion. He outplayed the next coming of goatness that everybody calls him. He outplayed him for the second time in the Super Bowl. They took away his running back. They took away the running game, which everyone thought that's the only reason the Eagles win because they got Saquon Barkley running the ball. They took away Saquon, and the Super Bowl was won on Jalen's arm as well as the defense. I'm going to give the defense credit, but on offense, it was won on Jalen's arm. So to me, he was an elite game manager until he needed to be an elite game changer. That, my friends, makes you an elite quarterback. Even beyond those that are just elite game changers or elite game, he can be elite at both. We saw him 2 years ago go to the Super Bowl. That season, he was elite. He was runner up to the MVP. Probably would have been the MVP if he didn't get hurt. He was elite 2 years ago. He was elite for the first half of 2023, and then all hell break loose. I don't know what happened. Then yet last year he just proved to you again he could take a team to Super Bowl. My other thing about him being elite, Jalen Hurts does and is willing to do whatever it takes to win the game. He's not worried about anything else but winning the game. He says keep the main thing, the main thing. The main thing is winning the game. He's not worried about the accolades. He's not worried about the whatever else. He wins games, and that makes you elite. Miguel, I'll give you the floor.
Um, I 20,000% agree with everything you said.
That's deep.
Um, I think they don't call you don't hear Tom Brady the game manager. You just don't. And I
Mhm.
think the biggest example of him being a game manager, and you can argue this with like even Peyton Manning had to do this for one Super Bowl. You remember the Super Bowl after we beat him, the Eagles beat him. Do you remember the Super Bowl after that? It was probably the most
What's that?
boring
That
game
what's that? Oh yeah, the Patriots and the Rams.
in the Rams, right?
Yeah, that
I
was
think
the.
it was,
I stopped watching that game. That was the most boring football game I've ever watched.
however, I think it came down to last couple minutes. He's handing the ball off, dink and dunk. He got him in position to score a final touchdown. I think the score was like, I don't know, 13-3. It was a very, very low scoring Super Bowl. But he did what he needed to do to win, and that was his final Super Bowl, his sixth and final Super Bowl. But you don't
With the
hear
Patriots. With the
the
Patriots.
Patriots. I'm sorry, yeah, I always forget about Tampa Bay. But you don't hear Tom Brady, the game manager. You hear Tom Brady, the greatest. Tom Brady, you
Mhm.
know, MVP, all this stuff. And, the hate on Jalen Hurts is definitely real. And I think part of it is a lot of people are out there starting new shows, going through the clickbait process of trying to get hits. And I think some of it could be low key jealousy. And I need to pick on your boy Cam Newton for a little bit because I know he's been riling up the NFL world by saying he has a top 10 list of quarterbacks and Jalen Hurts is not on the list. And I love the fact that Terrell Owens had a post and came up in defense of Jalen Hurts. And if you can show that on the screen, please. Not the national anthem, please. Okay. So um, Terrell Owens said you would be judging him if he had all of that and wasn't playing well. This is a Skip Bayless type of statement with dreads. Don't be mad at Jalen because he's making great decisions. Maybe had you made the decision to jump on that ball, just maybe, y'all will say anything to go viral. This isn't it, Cam.
So here's what I'm going to say about Cam saying what he said. I really don't have a problem with what he said, and I don't feel like, strangely enough, and this may be the unbiased in me, I
Mhm.
don't feel like he was hating. I don't, because only because I've watched Cam's show. Um, he's this is not the first time he said that.
It's not. You're right.
So it's like it's not like he's just come. So I don't agree with what To said. People say anything to go viral. Maybe he was, but he's said it before. So I don't
Mhm.
feel that way of it. But when you listen to Cam break things down,
Mhm.
right? And maybe it's just me, maybe I'm naive, I don't know. But sometimes when you listen to Cam break things down and you really have an open mind about things, the way he breaks things down, it almost make you change your mind on certain things. And I don't know, maybe it's just sometimes people just have that gift of gab. They can talk their way out of out of anything. But when it comes to that conversation of elite, I mean, excuse me, game manager, game changer, I agreed with what Cam was saying before.
Mhm.
Game manager, game changer. And the one thing he said was when he called Tom Brady an elite game manager. See, a lot of people take the game manager thing as disrespect,
Right.
right? I don't see it as that. I see it as there's two kinds of quarterbacks. There's the game manager, there's the game changer. To me, Jalen Hurts is both, can be both. To me,
Mhm.
right now, Jaden Daniels is probably both from his rookie year. I look at guys like John Elway. Okay, let's talk about John Elway real quick. What was
Mhm.
the knock on John Elway for a long time? He couldn't win the big game.
Couldn't win the big game. Yep.
Couldn't win the big game. It wasn't until he had Terrell Davis,
Terrell Davis,
um,
Rod Smith,
who else?
not Rod Smith. Sharp, Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp. So yeah, Shannon Sharp for a while though. But you know what I'm saying. Shannon Sharp, Terrell Davis. What was my man? McCaffrey.
McCaffrey. Yeah.
Ed McCaffrey. It wasn't until he had a squad around him
Hmm.
that he got to the promised land and got to hoist that trophy. It wasn't until then. So I mean, and we call John Elway one of the greats,
Hmm.
but he didn't win the Super Bowl until his last 2 years of his career.
Hmm.
So why was John Elway considered great, even though he couldn't win the big game? But Jalen Hurts gets punished for having the status that was what we call makes John Elway great. Why is Jalen Hurts punished for that? I don't understand that.
I mean, it could be your double standard, your traditional double standard. Because I mean, there's a double standard about this whole tush push thing. Again, how many times did Brady line up 4th and 1, 4th and 2? Wasn't a tush push per se, but he did a ton of quarterback sneaks for the first down. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
what makes that different than what Hertz is doing? Well, I think maybe it comes down to the fact that there's just a lot more. There's a lot more media scrutiny because everybody's doing a podcast about something, and there's something that they need to talk about, and some of it could be generating a little controversy. Some of it could be um, the fact that there could be some jealousy towards Philadelphia. That it's funny. I've been in some meetings, and when people find out that I'm from Philly, they're like, "Oh my god, you're from that city." Yeah, I'm
More
from
likely
that
they don't
city.
care.
Like, what does that? You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean? But again, I know that's all media driven. It's all
Yeah.
social media driven.
Mhm.
One person had told me for whatever, if she was a fan of the Vikings, and she's like, "Oh my god, it was so disgusting how Eagles fans treated Vikings fans." I'm like, number one, nobody cares about the Vikings. um, that's number one. Nobody gives a damn about Minnesota. And number two, like nothing was reported Oh, it was all over social media. I'm like, I said, I looked in Google, I looked on YouTube. I didn't see anything about anybody giving a damn about the Vikings. But anyway, um, but yeah, I think there's just so many people talking, and they're scrutinizing every single thing Monday morning, quarterbacking it, and I don't think Elway. I can imagine him getting some of the scrutiny today because of social media. Like if you flip it, um, but again, a win's a win is a win is a win. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, Jalen. I didn't. I don't know if I got your opinion. Oh, yes, you said you 2,000 or 20,000% agree with me
yeah,
about the Jalen Hurts thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, so think about this, Miguel. Another one.
hmm
Dan Marino is considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He's never won a
I
Super
was
Bowl.
I was thinking about talk. Yeah,
And correct me if I'm wrong. He only got the one. Am I right?
yes, he lost to the Reds, the Commanders, the Commodores, who were then the
Speaking of
Redskins.
speaking of which, we got a call coming in. Just a second, caller. Never mind. I'm not even going to mention that right now on our show. I'm not even going to give it any credence. But we have a caller coming in, and caller don't curse, or we will be dismissed. But let me I gotta unmute. I forgot all the stuff I got to do to bring the caller in.
Ruh-roh.
So we got
Hello,
is this Brittany?
this is Chase.
Oh, it's Chase. How you doing, Chase? Welcome to the Check Swing Podcast. What you got for
What's
us?
going on, man?
Yo,
Yeah, I want to talk Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, really? What do you want to talk about the Pittsburgh? I
Yeah,
mean, they got. Are you a Pittsburgh Steelers fan?
I am. I am a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Interesting things going on in Pittsburgh with the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, and he didn't have to do anything until he was ready, and seemed kind of weird. But what are your thoughts?
Oh man, I think Rodgers will be a good mentor for Will Howard, but I don't think he's got the juice left in him to make it to the big game. I think the Steelers they'll get to the playoffs. They always do,
They do.
but
yeah,
I think they need to want to lose this season. I think they need to want to lose to get a good draft pick, so they can get out of the picks they've been getting. Going 10-7 every year and getting a pick right in the middle of the draft and not being able to pick up a
he
quarterback.
wants him
So
to tank.
yeah, I was about to say you want us to say that word. You want your team to tank this year.
I'm not saying tank, but here's the thing: all these good franchise quarterbacks that are on the team on these teams. Obviously you can have people like Pat Mahomes, who is a diamond in the rough almost, who came later rounds and then emerged as a backup and came through when someone got hurt. But after Big Ben left, we've kind of been stuck in the people in Pittsburgh, we call it the Kenny Pickett picks.
Ooh.
You get a guy like Kenny Pickett every draft, and they last 2 years, and they just keep your head above water. You keep going 10-7.
Chase, where
You
you where
know,
you from? May I ask?
oh god, oh god, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Wow, a Steelers fan in Cincinnati. Okay, all right. The only reason I asked is because I didn't know if you might have been from our area here in Philadelphia. But I can remember um, when the Steelers drafted Kenny Pickett and the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts, and there was a guy, and I don't think it was you, but he kind of sounded like you, but I don't think it was you because you're from Cincinnati. There was a guy that he was an Eagles fan that said that Kenny Pickett would be better than Jalen Hurts. Was going to have a better career than Jalen Hurts. And I think he spend 2 years in Pittsburgh?
He spent 3 years in Pittsburgh and got traded to the Eagles
Eagles, yeah,
after
Three,
the end of his
okay.
rookie contract.
and now
And
he's the future in Cleveland,
won the ring too. He won the ring.
and won the ring in Philly. Yeah,
Yeah, he did win the ring, but now he's in Cleveland with them.
Yeah.
All right, before I let you go, Jay, I gotta ask you. I have to ask you this question because I'm always
All
fascinated
right.
by fandom. Okay,
All right.
how how did you become a Steelers fan? Are you from Cincinnati or you just happen to live there now? How did you end up becoming a Steelers fan?
Yeah. So it's a funny story because I was born and grew up for the first part of my life in a small town in Kentucky where half the family was split between the Tennessee Titans and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Hmm.
But my dad and my grandpa's a trucker out of Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, just the whole East Coast. He did trucking, and
Oh.
he was a Steelers fan. So my dad was a mix between Bengals and Steelers, and I just kind of grew up in a time where I'm a '06 baby, so I'm still young, but during my life the Steelers ruled. Ben Roethlisberger, AB, Le'Veon Bell. So you know I kind of grew more towards the Steelers while they
You
were winning and the
have
Bengals were losing.
now thinking about it, you have seen some great Steeler teams. You didn't see
Did
the great.
were the Steelers on TV a lot? Like, were they like the national game, like regional game in your area for the most part?
Yeah, you asking if I've been to a game?
No, no, no. So, like, a lot of Cowboys fans, that are not in Philadelphia, we call them cockroaches because they only come out when they win like 2 games. But when a lot of Cowboys fans on the East Coast became Cowboys fans because they were on like national TV. They were the national game of the week all the time, or they were regional. Was that the case where you're from? Was Pittsburgh just like the team that was always on when you were watching games, or?
Not really. I always tell people the whole reason I kind of drifted because I grew up in a Cincinnati household.
Gotcha.
Uh, I've got pictures of me wearing Carson Palmer jerseys. But when I was, old enough to really get into watching football, if I always say, if I'd go on YouTube and look up, biggest hits or, best highlights, it was always Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, James Harrison, those guys.
Gotcha.
Yo, those Steelers team were crazy. They were
They were
scary.
crazy. Yeah.
They were the ones that brought back that steel curtain defense. And I'm gonna tell you real quick, Chase. Before that, they were scary too because you had the Joey Porter, the Kevin Greens. You had that squad too,
Yeah.
and that squad was scary
Yep.
too. But that was a little before your time. But I'm sure you heard about them. Chase, thank you for the call,
Oh, yeah.
and
Appreciate you.
make sure you share us with your friends, and make sure you check us out next week as well.
Will
And we'll
do.
try to get some Ravens fans on to stoke the rivalry down here.
Oh yeah, definitely gonna do
Oh,
that.
all
All
right.
right, have
You
a
guys
good
take it
one
easy.
now.
Thanks, boss.
Calling from Cincinnati, from the Natty,
Cincinnati.
from the Natty. So shout out to him. We appreciate it. And of course, if you have any opinions or anything that you would like to express to us, give us a call. You can hit us up. You can text us at 484-606-6061. Of course, you can follow us on Instagram at Check Swing. What is it? Check Swing. Did I put the right thing in? I don't even think I put the right thing in there, Miguel. This whole platform thing. Oh, I know what happened. I was putting the thing in there, and you text me. It was like I'm hollering at your forehead. And I forgot to finish it.
Oh,
Forgot
and
to
I have
finish
this. I gotta ask because I think so. Like when I'm looking at the screen, right?
it. Mhm.
It looks like it switched to mobile mode.
It
So it
did.
look.
I did switch it. I'm gonna try it out. I did switch
Oh,
because I know probably most people watching on their phones, and they can just tilt it to the side. But I just want to try it out, see how it look. Plus, we can put it in our stories now.
oh, because I can't see it.
You can't see me.
No, no, no. I can see you just very, 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 very small.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, next week we'll change it. I tried to change it back, but they won't let you do it during the live show. But we're gonna switch gears real quick. All right. Another big topic that has been making its rounds, not just locally here in Philadelphia, but just like nationally. Um, Joel Embiid. He did an interview recently with an ESPN reporter, and there was a lot that was discussed, his injuries and all like that. But one of the things that came out from this interview that really struck a chord with me was he addressed the was it player only meeting that
Hmm.
the team had last year, in which Joel Embiid was called out by one Tyrese Maxey. Now, player only meetings are closed door meetings. Miguel, you and I have coached teams that decide to have player only meetings, and to this day, I mean, maybe you know, but to this day, I don't really know what was said in these things, because it's between players. They take care of their business amongst themselves, and they agree up, shake up, whatever they do, hug it out, whatever they do, and they come out supposed to be better for it. But usually, what happens in these player meetings is everything stays on the inside. This one did not. It got out that Tyrese Maxey got on Joel Embiid's case. So in this interview, in this article, Joel Embiid mentions that he knows who leaked the information. He'll never be a part of another team meeting again because the information gets leaked and all like that. And that bothered me, Miguel. That
Yeah.
bothered me, and you're going to enjoy this conversation because it's about Embiid and it's relatively negative. And I know you're an Embiid damager. I'm not going to call you a hater. I'm going to call you a damager.
What?
Because hater means like, to me, hater means like you're just you don't like him because he's good at something. That's hater to me. And I don't think you dislike him because he's good at basketball.
Okay.
I know why you don't dislike the player. You dislike the personality. You just dislike the person that comes across. That's
Yeah,
what
but
you don't like what he does. You don't like what he kind of represents. But you don't dislike him because he's good at basketball. Or am I wrong?
yeah, I guess you can say that. Like I don't like him because his personality I think affects his game. And he comes to me he comes up small.
See, I really don't want to go down that road because I've been having this argument in my head for months about Embiid, right? But I don't want to go down that road because right now, when I heard about this article and the things that came out from this article, first thing in my head, this dude is still immature. He's still immature. Those statements that he made, he is
Right.
still. And I knew he was immature, but I mean, like this kind of put it up there. Like you're very
Yeah.
immature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can be immature. You're very immature. You don't want to be a part of another team meeting because of stuff got. How about Joe? And I'm a fan of yours. I'm a fan, Joe. Miguel will tell you. I'm a fan. I'm a defender. How about you take care of what was addressed in the team meeting so you can go to the next team meeting and it won't be about you? How about that? How about you worry about that? How about you worry about fixing the problem? Because the problem isn't that it got leaked. The problem is that the meeting had to happen in the first place. That's the problem. You're worried about the wrong thing right now, Joe. You're worried about the wrong thing. Now, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna say, because I know you want to say something. I just want to put this out there. The man scored 30 something points a game in his last playoff appearance on a bum leg, and they lost. But he had more points than minutes. More points than minutes. Um, defended kind of well, but on one leg. I get it, Joe. I get it. You go out there and you, I guess, give all you have on the court, playing through injuries, playing through the torn meniscus. We know the knee ain't been right since you first tore that meniscus a few years back in the playoffs, and continued to play on it a few years back in the playoffs. We know. We know that you got injured in the playoffs when Doc Rivers should not have had you in the game, Joe. We know this as fans. It was a blowout game, fourth quarter. Why did Doc Rivers have you in a game? You caught an elbow to the underneath of your eye, whatever this part is called right here, and broke. And then you were down for a while. Joe, we know. Joe, we know that Markel Fultz rockhead collided with your rockhead, and his rockhead won, and you had to and you had to be out.
A lot of rocks and a lot of heads.
You had to be out for a little. We know these things. You called this off season your most important off season of your career. Yeah, it is. But so was last season. Not last off season. I'm gonna give you a pass on last off season. The previous off season was the previous to that, and the previous to that, and the previous to that. All those were the most important off seasons. And guess what? Next off season is going to be your most important off season too. But are you going to treat it like it's your most important off season? That's what I want to know as a fan of yours. That's what Miguel wants to know as a damager of yours. Because I believe the damage can be reversed with Miguel if you come out and show what you.
Hold on, Jacques Cousteau. I resent the fact that you call me a damager. That means like
you might rather
I'm not a damager.
Hate? You want me to say hater?
I'm not a hater. I'm not a damager. I am a fact teller, and you have just proven my.
First of all,
3 years. Hold on.
I think you're thinking about alternative facts because sometimes
I object and move to strike. Okay, I object and move to strike. Because a damager is somebody that's just willy nilly, just like I'm destroying things. I'm not destroying Embiid. He's destroying himself. I'm just merely calling it out, pointing it fact by fact. And now you have just proven it because now when he thinks the fans are turning on him, now you're speaking facts about his play, about his personality. So if anything, I am a fact teller, a truth seer, and I am here all week. And please don't forget to tip your waitress.
I want to respond to that without you being offended. I'm not going to call you a fact teller. Only because I'm not saying you don't give any facts. I'm not that's not what I'm implying at all. What I'm implying is not everything you say is fact. That's what I'm implying. Some of the stuff you make up on your own and kind of put it out there to help your argument, those aren't facts.
Hold up. Even the stuff I joke about with the Chick-fil-A, they were actually stories in the paper about him overindulging in Chick-fil-A.
It was like one story. It was like one story.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
So, all right. So let me explain how the paper work, how periodicals work, right? You can see a story here on this thing, and you'll see the same story printed in other places. It'll be the same story printed in other places, maybe changed up a little bit, but it's the same story. And I only know that because I've worked in the news. I know how these things happen. And some, I'm not going to say these guys make things up because they don't. Not all of them. But some of them also some of them, and I'm not going to mention any names, but you know who I'm talking about. Some of them put things in stories just to get that attention. And you know exactly who I'm talking about. We talked about him on the show before. He comes off arrogant as a reporter. You know who I'm talking about. You don't have to say the name, but you know who I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan of his personality. Not a fan of him. I actually worked with him a little bit, and he was actually cool in person, but his demeanor.
That's a persona. That's a personality.
Exactly. I don't like his persona.
Right.
But with all that being said, some of the things that came out in this article was, and I believe some of these things because a lot of stuff just didn't make sense over time to me. Joe was kind of forced to play on the bum leg. And I believe it because, these organizations will try to force you to do these things. And I do remember there was one instance where he wanted to get a second opinion.
I remember that
and
story.
and
Yeah.
the team wasn't feeling it, and the team wasn't feeling it. And I say all that to ask you and everybody else out there within the sound of my voice. That's a Sixers fan. Do you trust the Sixers front office? I'm going to tell you right now, personally, I do not. I do not trust the front office right now. The Daryl Morey. Actually, probably I just don't trust Daryl Morey. I guess I don't know.
Mhm.
But like last year, last off season was it last off season, two off season, last off season. Um, no, two off seasons ago. I'm gonna say it. You tell me when it was.
Okay.
James Harden wanted out of Philadelphia.
Right.
Said he would never play for a team run by Daryl Morey again. Right. And at the time, we are like, yo, what's wrong with this dude? He's a diva. He's this. He's that. What is going on? But since then, there have been a lot of things that have come out about Daryl Morey saying things and doing things that really the players don't like, and they really don't not feeling what's happening there. And which leads me to believe, yeah, I do believe Joel was probably forced to play some of these games that he played in, right? Um, I remember watching the game last season, not this past season. That was, this season was Dookie, but the season before when he got hurt in the Golden State game. It was a late Golden State game. I was watching it. I was up late, and the dude just basically Randy or Superfly Jimmy Snooker on his leg. Basically, I mean that's kind of what happened. Just landed smooth on his leg. Wasn't even no point in doing it, but anyway. And I was like, he's done for the season. He's done for the season. That I think that was the same leg he had tore the meniscus in the previous year. He's got to be done for the season. They bring him back in the playoffs. Um, like I said earlier, he averaged 30 plus points in the playoffs in a losing effort. But you could look at him and tell he wasn't 100%. And then you could look in the Olympics. First of all, I didn't feel he was a good fit for the Olympics, but you could see in the Olympics when he played in the Olympics, he really wasn't the Joel Embiid that we have come to know when he's somewhat healthy. Um, but I feel like this Sixers front office right now, I don't know. Like they're so they signed Eric Gordon, who's like my age. They signed Kyle Lowry, who's like my age, and both of them play basketball better than me right now. But if you're signing these guys to be veteran leaders for your young rookie guards and your young guards, do you really need both of them taking up roster spots?
But my whole thing is, if you're looking for veteran leadership, where the hell's Embiid? Why is he not your veteran leader? Why do you need more veteran leadership?
Because Embiid, as we all know, is not a leader. He's not a leader. He's a player. He's not a leader. He
Right.
doesn't know how to lead.
And that's the whole thing, because every year he seems to revert back to something maturity wise, and he, you know what I mean, and that's been my argument the entire time. Like, flip it over to the Eagles. Can you imagine, Jalen Hurts saying half the stuff he said? And I think that's part of the reason for the issues people have with Jalen Hurts is that he's not gonna like take the bait. Like, somebody asked him the question, are you going to the White House? And he just looked at him and just literally just walked out.
So here's
You
what
know
I'll
what I
say to
mean?
that, because nothing you said is false. Jalen Hurts has been training for this since he was a young kid.
Hmm.
Like he's been built up. He knew this was coming. He's been trained. Joel just started playing basketball at like 16 years old, 14 years old, something like that. And he wasn't prepared for what the United States and Philadelphia especially media could bring. Um, but he's not a leader. Tyrese Maxey's going to be the leader of this team. Um, the unfortunate thing is a lot of times we expect the best player on the team to be the leader.
Hmm.
You can be the best player on the team and not be the leader.
I
You
mean, and
can.
we can go back to Mike Schmidt. He always said that before he always claims that Dick Allen helped him in the first part of his career, but Pete Rose helped him to get over the top because he saw there was a quote that he said that when before Pete Rose, I felt like I was the best player in the world 5 days a week, but with Pete Rose, I felt like I was the best player every day. And he didn't have to necessarily
Hold on,
change it.
hold on. Wait a minute. Slow down. Say that quote again. I
He
missed
said
something.
he said without Pete Rose, I felt like I was the best player in the world 5 days a week.
Okay, gotcha. Go
But
ahead.
with Pete Rose, I felt like I was the best every day of the week. So, and he was like, it wasn't nothing special that he did. He just kept talking to him, like, dude, like, don't worry about this, don't worry about this. Do you this? You're the best. You're the best. And when you constantly hear that, maybe that's what Joel Embiid needs. But I feel like he's had that, and that's where the Sixers management comes in. That's where the lack of trust comes in because I don't trust the Sixers to fix it. You know what I mean? I don't. Not that they don't know how, but I don't know. Maybe they don't know how.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. The Sixers messed up with Joel Embiid a long time ago. And it's when it was during the process. And we were not, you and I were not doing a show at the time, but I know in all my conversations, my sports conversations about the Sixers, I would say they need veteran leadership on this team. They need veteran leadership. Um, and when they had Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, they didn't have any veteran leaders out there to kind of reel them in and show them really, what this thing is about. They didn't. These guys, they were two young kids, both 1 year out of college, trying to learn this thing on their own, right? Both guys missed their first season. Joel missed his first two. Um, it wasn't until Jimmy Butler came. It wasn't until Jimmy Butler came and was that veteran presence. And Embiid thrived in it.
Yep.
Embiid flirted. Embiid actually liked it, according to what he was saying. The problem was Ben Simmons didn't like it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So what did they do to appease Ben Simmons? What did they do? They let Jimmy walk and gave Tobias Harris that money. Unfortunately for Tobias Harris and the Sixers, it wasn't a great fit. I didn't like the trade when it happened for Tobias Harris. I didn't like because they got rid of Landry Shamet. I was a fan of Landry Shamet. But I just didn't feel like Tobias Harris was the guy for the Sixers. But anyway, we go back to the veteran thing.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, when Jimmy Butler came, you have that veteran leadership. That was a great opportunity. Like that was like the point.
Mm-hmm.
From that point forward, if he had Jimmy for two more seasons, let's just say two, I'm going to say his whole career, two more seasons, I think Joel Embiid would be a very different person today. I think he would be a very different person today. Unfortunately, they chose Tobias and Ben over Jimmy Butler, and none of them are on the team anymore. I don't know if I trust them to make decisions. I mean, who they bring in? They brought in James Harden, which James Harden and Joel Embiid had an unstoppable pick and roll. Unstoppable. But James Harden comes up small in the playoffs. Joel Embiid has come up small in the playoffs. You can't have two guys coming up small on the same team in the playoffs. Can't put them together. Um, I I'm going to say something that's going to probably surprise you, Miguel, and I'll move on. If they traded Joel Embiid, and I'm a fan, I am a fan of Embiid. You know this. If they traded Joel Embiid, I wouldn't exactly be mad. I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be happy about it,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't be mad because I'm not ready to start over. But with the talent of the youth that we have, if we had to start over now, I could kind of be okay with it. And I still think our youth could have a chance of making the playoffs. Just put it like that. Um, anything you want to say about that before I move on? Any of that?
Nope.
All right, let's move on to the Phillies, who last night, okay, last night won a game in one of the most oddest ways to win a game. And I did not watch one pitch, right? I was watching Jeopardy when the game started, or Wheel of Fortune, or one of them. When the game started, got a phone call. It's like the Phillies down 1-0 already. I said, well, that's why I'm watching Jeopardy. And I never turned the game on. I actually forgot the Phillies game was on at that point. Um, and then this morning on the news, I look and I'm like, they won off a catcher's interference, mind you. And then I keep learning more and more throughout the day about that last thing. Did you see the game, Miguel?
Yeah, I was actually watching it as it was going.
It was kind of crazy to find out. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'll let you go right after this. It was kind of crazy to find out that not one ball was put in play in that 10th inning,
Right.
and the Phillies got the bases loaded and scored on a walk off, and not one ball was put in play. Go ahead. Go ahead. You got the floor.
Yeah, it was the first time, and it's kind of hard to talk about. So if you want to play the video, I have it on my share. So even as you're watching it, so basically what happened on the play was the catcher reached out in front of the hitter, and then instead of the hitter going after the baseball, he actually hits the glove. So right there, that is textbook catcher's interference. And it's the first time that a game ended on a catcher's interference since 1971. So something like 50 years ago. Yeah, I was like, as soon as he called it, I was like, what is he trying to say? Foul tip or whatever? But then when you see him hit the glove, I was like, oh, okay, that's different. And then it wasn't. I didn't realize. I kept forgetting that it's extra innings, and that could do it. That could end the game because everybody else moves up a base. So I was like, oh, yay.
It was kind of crazy. So I actually didn't get to talk to R Dot about it, but crazy thing is his team this season lost the game because of a batter's interference in the last
Oh,
inning. I wanted to talk to him and get his opinion on this one. But yeah, that's like two. I've never seen a game. I've never seen a game ended or even heard of a game ending on a catcher's interference. And the batter's interference thing was the first time I heard about that. That's what a way to win a game. I mean,
mhm.
it's funny. There was a radio personality today that was saying you shouldn't be able to win a game like that. Like you shouldn't be able to win a
Look,
game on catcher's interference walk.
you shouldn't be able to lose a state championship on a balk, and it happened twice in the last in
Actually, the
the
guy, the
last month.
co-host, and mentioned that.
Right. I
He
think I
mentioned,
think one game there was a freaking bolt of lightning that hit, and he went like this,
yeah,
and the umpire had no choice; he had to call a balk.
yeah. That was
By
that a
default.
minor league game or was that was a high school state championship game? That was.
I think that was a minor league game, but there was a balk.
Yeah, I know the other one. Yeah,
Yeah, that was a state. The balk was a state championship. That won the state championship for the other team.
yeah. That yeah. I mean, yeah. So yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's the rule is the rule, right? Like, what can you do? You're kind of your hands are tied as an umpire
yeah,
because they did it. They did it in front of everybody, and there's nothing in the rules that says. I guess there's nothing in the rule book that says an act of God, like they always say in the insurance world. Act of God can change something, but
right.
I guess not. But let's put it like let's talk about the Phillies as a team. All right, one of your favorite topics. You love talking about these guys. They have some holes to fill, right? They just signed Dave Robertson, which is weird to me. I was hearing on the radio that in his little tryout he was having, he was throwing like 88 to 90, right? He was hitting topping off at like 90. Um, but they have excuse me, bullpen issues. They have batting issues, right? They have batting issues. Like people say, we need a right-handed bat. No, we need people that can actually hit the ball when it really matters and count. That's what we really need. I know we're in first place. I don't care. We need people that can hit the ball. Miguel, do you trust this ownership's ability to make a helpful move? Trade
No,
deadlines. You don't
no,
trust.
Well, because I'm going based on history, they're not a trade deadline team. Although the general manager that they have has done so in the past, you know, there was two big trades that they were talking about this past week. One was um, possibly to get Cedric Mullins and Felix Bautista from the Orioles, which I would love. The only downside to it is that Cedric Mullins is a free agent after the end of this season.
Right.
Um, Another trade they were talking about was Byron Buxton from the Twins and getting Duran, who's a closer. Um, and then I think there was a third one they were talking about getting Steve Kwan and Emmanuel Clase from Cleveland.
Mm.
And I like all those moves. Um, I think in one situation I probably would give up Justin Crawford, but in both it was like Mike Abel and like Juan Cabrera, who's like in Double A. But it's like it's always hard to say. Like when it comes to like trading prospects, it's always a hard thing because I remember people were up in arms when the Phillies traded. There was this guy named Kyle Drabeck and Mike
Mhm.
Taylor to Toronto to
I
get
don't know.
Roy Halladay, right? They were like, how could you give up Drabeck? Da, 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 da. Drabeck wound up tearing his UCL and never made it to the major leagues. And
Mhm.
Mike Taylor kind of floated around, had pop for like maybe 2 or 3 years, and then faded into obscurity. Yet we got two no hitters out of Roy Halladay and a couple playoff appearances. So I don't want to give up Justin Crawford, but if we have to, and I don't like the fact that in the draft this past year, the Phillies actually drafted their first 6 picks were all pitchers. They were all pitchers, all same build, same height, same hard throwing. They were all the same, like they were sextuplets or something.
But they definitely need to boost up that pitching room. I'd tell you that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like all those potential trades, but then when you go out and get a Robertson and you already announced that he's going to be your closer, to me that just it's like that sinking feeling. Like, all right, I guess we're not going to get those guys. Now you can still get those guys, right? Um, but I think they should be buyers. They definitely should be buyers because this is literally Schwarber's going after this season. You got one more with Castellanos. So either you're going to start transitioning your quote unquote minor league talent and you're going to call up Justin Crawford to see if he can hit major league pitching because he's tearing it up in AAA. You're going to have Painter come up also and, see if his curveball works or see if his fully repaired Tommy John arm can strike out, batters like Paul Skeens, or trade him.
So if you asked me last week, do I want to trade Painter or Crawford? I'd have said no. No, keep them. And I haven't seen them. I'm only going by things I've heard. I haven't seen them play. Um, but here's what I'm thinking about, right? And you just mentioned some possible outfielders, and I think Byron Buxton might have been the only one that would be under control for a while, right? Because
Yeah, I
Cedric
think he.
Mullins
I
was
think he
hurt.
has like. I mean, they. Yeah, I think he's 15 million a year for like 3 more years.
Here's the thing. I'm now at the point where I'm like, yeah, you could probably trade Painter, but hold on to Crawford only because
Yeah, yeah.
you still are going to need a center fielder.
The knock on Crawford right now, which I don't even know if it's a knock. They said his ground ball rate is really high, but I'm like, if you're hitting ground balls at a high rate, but you're getting hits, then shut the hell up. Like, you know what I mean? He's successful.
These baseball minds, like, some of them are great and some of them are just like,
Like, do you
what?
hear yourself talking? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what did you hear? Did you hear what you just said? I
I
don't.
don't know. I saw a video, and I don't know if I shared it with you or not. I think I accidentally clicked off of it before I got a chance to share it, or maybe you shared it with me. I know it was Frank Thomas talking about how people teach the game today
Yeah, yeah.
opposed to certain things, and he basically was saying a lot of things that you've been saying, that you're teaching these people to lift up on the ball, and that it just kind of reminded me of what you just said. He's got a high ground ball rate. Well, he's putting the ball in play. You
So
got a good 5 guys on the roster, on the big roster right now, that ain't putting the ball in play,
right.
and especially when we need a ball to be in play. No Diddy. I don't get it. I don't get it. And of course, he's going to have to improve. He's going to have to improve. He's in the minors right now. He's not going to come up here. He's not Ken Griffey. He's not A-Rod. He is a prospect. But Painter, on the other hand, he's had Tommy John, and we have seen pitchers come back from Tommy John throwing octane. We've seen it.
Mhm.
And he may end up being a great pitcher. But right now, you have Wheeler for a couple more years. He's retiring after his contract is done. He's already told him. You got Sanchez. You might be able to re-sign Ranger. You might be able to re-sign him.
You might be surprised at what I'm about to say with Ranger. I would, if I could re-sign him, I probably would trade him. Either him or San. You need a trading chip. You need to give up something of value to get something in return, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
figure if it's gonna be either or, I'd probably lean towards Ranger. Because even now, like Christopher Sanchez is getting ready to throw a complete game. He's already thrown 8 innings, 1 run, and he's on the mound in the ninth. So it's like he's got a durable arm. Rangers had some ups and downs recently with his arm and his back. But when he's healthy, he's successful. I would consider I'd be willing to part ways with Ranger.
The thing is, I don't. I'm I'm probably a little bit less of a believer in Ranger than most.
Hmm.
Like I do believe in Ranger, but I'm not as strong on Ranger as most.
And
To
I
the
felt
point
that way about
where when
Sanchez.
he when he goes out there and has a great outing,
Mhm.
I'm a little bit surprised. A little bit. And I think it's because of what happened last year when he got to a certain number of innings and he just kind of fell apart.
He just got
I
tired.
think
Yeah,
I can't forget that.
yeah.
And I know he missed like half of the first half of the season. So I'm in the back of my mind I'm thinking, all right, when is he going to hit that number of innings that he hit last year and he's going to fall off again? Like when is that coming? Because the year that they went to the World Series a couple years back, he was in the bullpen. He was coming
Right.
out of now little business notes. He's got Scott Boras as an agent. Scott Boras gets his people paid.
That's
So
fine. He can get him
if
paid.
you're going to
No.
trade him, I think you should trade him now.
Yeah.
Only thing is,
Mhm.
here's the problem with that though. I don't think if you're the Twins, right? You don't trade for Ranger. Like it really does nothing for you.
Correct. However,
So hold on, let me just finish the
go
thought
ahead,
real
go ahead,
quick.
okay.
You don't want to trade him to a contender that might need an arm to compete in the play. You don't want to do that. So like, can you really trade him before? I know you're saying if you can sign him, trade him. Can they trade him beforehand and not regret it? And by meaning that I'm saying by end up having to see him in the playoffs or the World Series.
Hence why, out of all those three scenarios I just gave you, Baltimore is the best option because
And
you get yourself a closer, Felix Bautista. He had Tommy John too, but he's 1 year. This is the second season after that surgery, and you get Cedric Mullins. So you with that you can still bring up Crawford in September, but you don't necessarily have to rely on Crawford in September. You can ease him in. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because Cedric Mullins is your left-handed bat. Another lefty bat that can play center field, but he's definitely an upgrade from Brandon Marsh.
There is a baseball question that came about yesterday. I
Phillies
want to.
just won. Sorry, Christopher Sanchez just pitched a complete game.
So everybody that was going to watch that game, y'all can come over and watch us now.
12 Ks,
Um,
no walks.
12 Ks.
12
Yeah,
Ks, no walks.
there's a
100,
gnat
100.
here and he's messing with me. The question was, I'm blanking on the question, but it had to do with pitchers throwing over to first base or pick off moves. But since I can't remember the exact question, I'll ask you a question that kind of pertains to it that I think will still answer. The rule in Major League about throwing over is it's 2 disengagements
Correct.
per batter, correct? No matter if it's a throw over, matter if it's a timeout, it's
Right.
2 disengagements, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha. All right, I think that should answer the question, only because I can't remember
But
exactly.
you can also go over a third time, but you have to make sure
You
he's
have to
out.
get them out, right? You
Yeah, he
have
has
to,
to be out, right?
right? So you were talking about moves. You were talking about Cedric Mullins, and you were talking about Batista. You were talking about a couple other guys. The Phillies are a little bit old, right? Bryce Harper ain't getting no younger. He's not old, but he's not young either. He's not one of these guys that's in the home run derby like one of the young guys, right? Um, Schwarber's been around a little while. JT is he's got 3 home runs this year, 5, 3,
Yeah.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Gotta get younger.
Cassidy's not old, but everybody's getting. Is it worth trading prospects away from this team being as old as they are? Is it worth it, or should we just kind of go with what we got and continue to build for the future? Because you remember last time we gave up all them prospects, what happened? We were in the dumps for like 10 years.
We fueled. You can argue that we fueled Houston's world championship run.
Yeah,
Because remember all those years we traded with Houston,
yeah.
and then
Mhm.
they get Altuve, they get Correa, they get Bergman. Like
Question for you, real quick, and I'm putting you on the spot because I don't really remember. Didn't Ed Wade end up being the
yeah,
GM
he
after
wound
he
up trading all the players over to Philly, then wound up going over to Astros. But it's what's sad about Ed Wade is that he got fired at both jobs before they won the championships.
And that's what they say happens in baseball. You're going to put a great team together, but you're not going to see them win the championship. You're going to get fired
Yeah,
before they win the championship.
but respect to Pat Gillick for like saying that, like when they won the championship, when the Phillies won the
Mhm.
championship, said this was partly Ed Wade's team.
Yeah, because those
That
guys
was,
know. They
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But question for you is it worth it? Is it worth trading prospects with this team the way it is? And as hot and cold as they are.
I think it is because sometimes like you never know. It could be one or two players that can kind of especially if you can get a back end of the bullpen type closer. But it's weird. Like, so you remember we got the Carlos Estevez to be our closer last year, and he's the one that gave up the home run to Lindor in the playoffs, right? He's killing it in Kansas City. You know what I mean? And Jeff Hoffman, he went over to Toronto, and now he's the killer closer there. And then we get this guy that looks like the drug addict on the light rail that I run into, and he's giving up bombs every other day. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's like they've had bad luck with who they decide to keep and who they decide to let go. Um, but I mean, they're I'm picking on Baltimore because there's a few key cogs in their situation now, and since they've been on a drastic losing streak, and between one of their young starters again blowing out his arm and then having a setback, and all of their stars, quote unquote, from last year are all underperforming. Like they still have 3 or 4 more really good players that may not cost you everybody. You know what I mean? Maybe 1.5 good prospects, and you'll get some good players in return.
Well, you're
Because you're
I
right, like
see what
Minnesota
you're
and
saying.
Cleveland.
You're kind of giving them an out. But I'm just saying, like my question is kind of straight up. is it worth trading away these top prospects for this team to win something, to try to win something now? Or should we hold on to the prospects in order to build for the coming years? Because this team is really, I think this window's closed after this year, in my opinion, for this team.
Yeah, I think it's worth it, at least for this stretch run. But it's like you said, it's
like it has to happen now.
It has to happen, right? It absolutely has to happen.
This is like I feel like this is like chasing Jimmy and Ryan and them. Like they won it old.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't they were not young when they won it. They won it old, and then every next year they took a step down until they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Phillies were in oblivion for the next 10 years. I don't know if it would be worth it. I don't think it would be worth it to trade your top prospects for this team. Because not only it's not just about building for the future for me. This team that we have right now is too hot and cold at the plate for me to want to bring other people in to get rid of prospects. And then, and I'm thinking this window closes this year.
Yeah.
It's not worth it to me. Like if they were hitting the ball, and maybe we were spoiled by that team in 08 that won. I mean, they were really good the entire season, blowing people out the entire season. People making mistakes against them and they capitalizing the entire season. This team doesn't seem like that, right? This team doesn't seem like that, but they're doing it in a different way. And they're in first place. I always got to remind myself they are in first place, which it's July. I don't care. What I'd say, talk to me at the end of September, right? I mean, end of August. Talk to me at the end of August. Let me know what Then we could talk about place. But I'll leave it at that. We've been going at it for an hour and 22 minutes. Miguel, you stumping me today?
I'm
Oh,
not
you
stumping.
had a video. Man, I'm sorry, you had a video to play.
Yeah, well, I got a couple of videos, but you got hung up on the Sixers, so.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Don't even try it.
What he did?
I didn't talk about the Sixers any longer than we talked about the Eagles.
We don't normally talk about the Sixers. That's the problem.
Yes, we do.
You gave me a damn nickname, the Embiid thing, the Magier, the Damager.
Well, I thought I was doing you a favor by not calling you a hater.
Let's play. Let's go to the video. This is this is a damn.
Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, I see.
Cause I'm surprised your leg didn't come off. That trail legged. University of Central Florida. Go Knights.
I want to see it one more time. Can I play it?
Put it on a big screen.
Oop, here we go.
Cause I'm surprised your leg didn't come off. That trail legged. University of Central Florida. Go Knights.
Yo, when I first saw that video, man, that thing hurt so bad. Like I felt that pain.
Yeah.
I felt that pain. Oh my goodness. It had the good ping to it too. Ooh, my goodness.
That was all bone.
All bone.
Mm-hmm.
All bone. Oh my goodness. You got another one here, right?
This is a dummy. Yeah. It's
age and already so much experience. He started so young playing against professionals.
Yeah, Ben plays like a grown. Ben plays like a grown man, and you see here always under control, size on both ends as well, and playmaking. All our guys can.
Let's do this because let me play it again.
Really pass the ball and play make, and that's what's exciting for me as a head coach.
Eric Reynolds scored about 2,400 points in college at St. Joe's, and he just scored his first 2 points for the Nets.
I was going to say, I took my eye off.
We appreciate that. We got to say thanks. Thanks.
Age and already so much experience. He started so young playing against professionals.
Yeah, Ben plays like a grown. Ben plays like a grown man, and you see here always under control, size of.
Here's a question though, and I guess you have to. I don't know why did they blow the whistle.
Because they were trying to figure out, like, did he just do that?
I mean, I get that, but I mean, like, I don't think like you don't blow the whistle after a regular basket. How come it just didn't like keep going? Like they
Maybe
blew the whistle because it was like everybody's probably like dumbfounded by what just happened, and they
right.
were probably confused. But I guess in a normal situation, you're not blowing that whistle. Like if the team that was supposed to score scored, the team just inbounds the ball. But whatever.
This is true.
Let's just be overthinking. We got another one. Here we go. Let's see.
I took that bat and hit him upside the paya. He said, oh, if he better be glad I didn't have a gun, because I would have shot him. But this is my gun right here, because I was going, paya.
Shout out to Richard Pryor. Shout out to Richard Pryor, man. Oh my goodness. Hi-yow. Shot me. Shout out to Richard Pryor, my man Mudbone. See, I bet y'all always out there didn't know. I know about Mudbone Richard Pryor, man. That's one of my favorite skits by Richard Pryor right there. When I first came down here, it's one of my favorite skits by Richard, man. Stop playing with me. See, I said, "Pow!" Go ahead, Granny. Get it.
Oh gosh. This next video is it's kind of self-explanatory. Embarrassing moment on national TV. Pitcher Pirate home run in Pittsburgh, and the guy catches it in a very peculiar way.
Yes, I saw this.
Carlos Azuaje in the box, second career home run. He's hoping, is it going to clear the fence? It hits Upton, it bounces back, Kutch grabs it, fires it back in. He's digging for three. No one knows what's going on. This ump's going to call him out. Damn. Then the ump says, hold up, son. We'll take a look at this for you. All right, they're putting it on the big screen for everyone to watch. Let's see if anything interesting happening. Okay, and hits that kid right in the nuts. Now, I do appreciate that kid didn't want to interfere with the ball. Got to protect yourself, though. And then everyone's watching now, so Andy Green is laughing. He's like, okay, I can't laugh. Hold it back. His buddy and his friends are just laughing right in his face. Like, just right in the junk. Thinks he's going to get a souvenir. He doesn't. Just takes it right there, which probably didn't feel good. And everyone laughs and has good fun. Great memory, though, especially for his buddy.
Yeah. The best part of that video was his homie just laughing him out.
I like how he said it. Ah, ha, 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 ha.
He was laughing him out, man. Oh my goodness, that was great. That was great right there. Let's see what you've been loading up on these videos over this.
We're a month behind. This one goes out to my team, and it just I would label this. Okay, you have no reason, no excuses now.
Oh, okay.
Brasil, Marney, Max.
Oh.
Chutar com ele, tem que botar a mão. Agora, quando ele chutar, botar o cotovelo, botar a mão, porra.
It rocked him, man. He felt it. Oh! Marvin Max! Man, look at this guy! He just dropped him. He dropped him. What a warrior, Mr. Marvin Max!
Whoa. Whoa, don't mess with that dude. It makes me question if the other dude could fight.
Really?
Only because, like, I mean, I know you gotta be smart about things, but dude had one arm. Why are you not attacking? And it's probably why I'm not in the octagon. Maybe I don't know something. But first of all, indulge me real quick, Miguel. He should probably have a glove on that thing.
Why?
Okay?
It's a nub.
It's probably bone.
It's a nub.
But it's probably like bone in there or something.
But did you see when he was
There
using
needs
it?
to be some padding on because he did hit him with the thing. He did hit him with it. I did see him hit him with it. You should probably have some type of padding on that.
Oh God!
I'm just saying.
This
I
was.
wouldn't want him hitting me with that thing.
It would just feel weird. You know what I mean? Like I
It
just
will
feel
probably
real.
hurt. It will probably hurt. It's all forearm bone in there. Imagine getting a forearm shiver like this.
Like, was that your forearm or your arm neck bone?
All right, what's this next one?
This next one is just a cheap shot.
One of the nominees for best team is the Dallas Cowboys. No, I'm joking. Obviously, Dallas sucks. Go Birds. They're obviously not here.
Just wanted to put that out there.
Absolutely. I'll do like one or two more.
Did you watch that? Did you watch the ESPYs?
Not the entire thing. No.
Did you see the beginning?
I saw the. I don't know if it was the beginning, but I know there was a lot of uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
The jokes were great jokes. The delivery was kind of lacking because I felt it, I don't know if that's like his thing or not. I don't know that much about him.
So it is. It actually is because I saw him. He hosted Saturday Night Live, and that actually is his style, his shtick. He's like, okay, well that joke bombed. So yeah.
Yeah, but like that part I get, but it was a lot of the delivery was kind of like. It was almost like he was scared to say some of these jokes because I mean I guess as a comedian you have to be prepared to say jokes about these great athletes who can probably all pummel you if they wanted to, and you got to say these things about, and they're like real, and a lot of times they're like really personal things, not too personal, but they're kind of like they can cut deep.
There was the one joke he said. I think he said there was an NWA basketball player that was there. He's like, "Oh, she's here, yay!" And then he was like,
"Nobody knows."
I'm just joking. None of y'all know who she is. So
yeah,
I was like, "Damn."
And Miguel, I gotta bust your chops on this one. The league is the WNBA.
What did I say?
You said the NWA.
Oh, I was in a wrestling mode. Sorry,
I was straight out of Compton.
I was watching Ric Flair highlights.
Woo! We got another one here. All right, just pop it in.
Yeah, Orioles invited a different way, a different type of artist to perform the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, all the ramparts we were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ringing, the bombs bursting in the air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Our sailors, that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
We should have ended the show with that. We should have just ended the show with that. Like we should have just played it off. That was the Zapp and Roger version of the national anthem. Did he perform Computer Love after that?
I don't know. But when
That,
we're ready,
that was definitely different. It makes me wonder if Roger Troutman ever performed the national anthem.
auto tune is now available to make anybody a star.
I wish I could have access to it, so I can free access to it, so I can become a star. Notice I said free. No, was that it? You emptied the clip?
I emptied the clip, and then the last clip will be our clip that we go out with, our words of wisdom to close the show. So,
all right. Well, with that being said, we're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all checking in and hanging with us here on the Check Swing Podcast. Make sure you tell your friends and your enemies about us so we can entertain all of y'all or get on your enemies' nerves, whatever the case may be. But we appreciate y'all making all that happen. I just got a text that said, "I read your lips." That's why.
and I just got I got a thing on Instagram. Hey Santa, what's the lineup for Saturday?
You're not in it. I'm sorry, we already discussed it. You ain't in it.
And you're not batting leadoff.
And you're definitely not batting leadoff.
Bam.
Definitely. All right. We're going to get up out of here. We appreciate you hanging with us here on the Check Swing Podcast with myself and, of course, the Brains and Bro on the situation, my man, Coach Santa. We'll talk to y'all next week, next Wednesday. We're going to move the show to Wednesdays. We're going to get you over that hump day every week from here on out. Talk to y'all next time. Peace out, y'all.